Hi, I'm Karen Downing Ripley, and I invite you to join me on a recent, unexpected side trip to Brittany, France during the 80th anniversary of the city of Plélo's liberation celebration and learn why Americans and Bretons celebrate their shared DNA from World War II. A last-minute decision to deliver my father's World War II documents to the city of Plélo, France, opened me up to an amazing experience that has truly changed my life. I ask that you join me so that you too can know and appreciate how we Americans are respected and revered because our ancestors fought to liberate the town of Plélo in August 1944. As Bert and I traveled toward Calais and the English Channel to catch our ferry, I reflected on how World War II had impacted my father. World War II became the greatest influence in my father's life. When he returned home and stepped off the troop ship, he told himself, "I will never worry about anything again." Dad tried to live his life as though nothing could bother him, but his battle scars festered throughout his life as he relived his battles in terror each and every night. How much did PTSD affect his personality upon his return? Why did he take risks, gamble, drink, and get into fights? I am sure he, like all veterans, just wanted to forget all the pain, the suffering, and the fear of the war. But he really couldn't forget. I know because when he would stay with me, we would hear him screaming and crying and fighting for his life because he was still fighting the war in Brittany. My visit to Plélo taught me how important it is for we Americans to recognize that we were revered and honored for our ancestors' sacrifice. We must stand tall and be proud as we look back and take into account all that our ancestors did for us to preserve our democracy. I now understand that we owe a responsibility to carry that traumatic DNA memory and remember what our ancestors went through. We need to honor our ancestors for all that they did for us. We should be proud to recognize and revere our ancestors, just as the people in Brittany do. Now I know why the people of Brittany reenact Patton's Third Army 5th Cavalry Convoy traveling down the sacred liberation route, because they want to recreate one of the happiest days in their community's history. When the town was liberated on August 7, 1944, the citizens of Plélo had just narrowly escaped death. After 4 years of German occupation, they had all but given up hope after feeling beaten, abused, and hopeless. Many had lost loved ones who may have tried to escape or fight back or just survive. They had experienced hunger and fear at the hands of their Nazi oppressors. In spite of it all, they continued risking their lives, working with the resistance to sabotage every heinous act of their aggressors. Suddenly, they heard a loud rumble on the narrow lanes leading to Plélo. It was the 15th Cavalry charging to their rescue. Children in Plélo learned in elementary school about Colonel Hamsley and his men, who liberated their town in World War II. Family stories of Liberation Day are passed down generation to generation through oral tradition. These stories put Plélo's annual liberation ceremonies into context for children who learn at an early age what Plélo's liberation ceremonies mean. As they participate each year with their family and friends, citizens of Plélo remember with immense joy in their hearts that their village, their family, and their way of life was saved by Lieutenant Hamsley and the 20 members of Troop B, 15th Cavalry Reconnaissance Group of Patton's Third Army. And my father, Corporal Delbert Franklin Downing, was one of the men who rode to their rescue and was one of the few who lived after the war to tell their story. I know now why Britons dress like American World War II military, why they collect and restore American Army equipment, tanks, and jeeps, why they have monuments along the route of Lieutenant Hamsley's 5 tank and 20 liberators. I have seen why the citizens of Plélo recreate an American encampment in their school stadium, why they named their stadium after their World War II hero, Colonel Robert Hamsley. I understand why Plélo celebrates August 7, 1944, in honor of the American liberators, and why that memory is not lost in the myriad historical events of D-Day, even though only a few elderly were there as children to witness that long ago, distant war memory. Thank you for sharing my experience during Plélo's liberation celebrations. Like me, you may not have known of the lasting impact and immense gratitude that our ancestors in World War II continue to receive from the descendants of all those we liberated. Thank you for spending time with me about my history growing up as a baby boomer just after the end of World War II. Thank you for listening to my perspective as a baby boomer when I visited Plélo and learned how the war affected me and my family, and how it probably affected you. I ask you to take a few moments to remember and honor your ancestors. Think of the sacrifices of the men and women in your family who were willing to put their lives on hold and to give their very lives to preserve democracy. Join me with gratitude and pride to be an American and a world citizen as we remember and honor our heroes, and in respect and gratitude, do our part to continue to defend our precious democracy. God bless our veterans. God bless America. God bless Plélo. And God bless you. Please join me for the next episode of You Were There, Karen Bed, and learn about the final years of my parents' lives when friendship rekindled as their lives wound down and they softened with the passage of time, with memories of full lives once shared in a distant past.